Well, that's good sports. I'm Brandon. The Drake curse is still very real perna. If you don't know what the Drake curse is, let me clue you in. Anyone Drake publicly endorses as his team loses. So this weekend, he thought it would be real cute to try and not curse any of the NFL teams with this shirt. Or as I call that shirt, the day rap music died. When rappers start to worry about offending or cursing people, you know humanity is finished. Yet, the curse lives on because the two teams Drake put on the bottom of the shirt lost. The Saints lost in gut-wrenching fashion to the Rams, and not the good kind of gut-wrenching you experience the day after eating too much Mexican food. I'm talking about the kind that actually makes you sick. So sick that not only should the Saints fans hate NFL officiating, they should hate Drake. They should definitely hate Drake. Rams versus Saints. That's good sports. This episode is sponsored by mybookie.ag. Use my promo code ThatsGood, and MyBookie will give you a 50% sign-up bonus up to $1,000. If you want to bet on the Super Bowl, do it now, before the lines start to shift. I'd recommend checking out the Super Bowl prop bets, which MyBookie has plenty of. QB props, running back props, scoring, defense, and my personal favorite, betting on how long the national anthem will be. And how much Maroon 5 will suck at halftime. Okay, sorry, that's how many Maroon 5 songs we will have to ignore by muting our TV during halftime. Again, use my code ThatsGood or the link in the description if you have any desire to bet on anything Super Bowl related this next week or two. Okay, so the best play of the Saints-Rams game came with 19 seconds left in regulation. The Rams holder, Johnny Hekker, pretends to run a fake kick after the Saints took an icing timeout. Here he is running to the edge, but once a Saints defender pursues him, he drops the ball in complete fear. No, don't hit me. Don't hit me. I was just messing around, dude. If you hit me, I really don't think the refs are gonna flag this, so please, dear God, don't. That was my favorite play. Now here's the thing. When your quarterback is injured in the postseason, it is really hard to win. Just like we all remember Phillip Rivers and his Iron Man performance playing without an ACL, but losing. We should also honor Drew Brees for playing in this championship game with the most severe form of eczema I have ever seen. I did learn that Taysom Hill's nickname is the Mormon Missile. I also learned that Saints kicker Will Lutz actually spells his first name with just one L. I just assumed he and his family kept accidentally having his name autocorrected his entire life. The good news is, with the L the Saints took on Sunday, he can finally start spelling Will correctly. You can follow my friend and co-writer at WillKey6 on Twitter for more Will jokes. The one thing I do know for sure is that whichever team scores the first 13 to 14 points in the Superdome in the postseason is the team that will lose the game. It's what happened to the Eagles last week and what happened to the Saints this week. And the Saints left early points on the board. Drew Brees would have thrown a touchdown on the opening drive if his tight end could have made this catch. Unfortunately, all of the non-elite ball catchers who make amazing catches every week and don't get credit for it play for New England. I'm excited that the Rams will be playing in the Super Bowl, but they should have been forced to forfeit this game for jumping off sides on 4th down to give the Saints a free set of downs. How many times during the regular season do we see teams try to get the defense to jump and they don't? It just wastes our time. As a defense in that situation, your number one priority is to not jump off sides. And the Rams, you do it in the playoffs? That paved the way for Garrett Griffin to catch the first touchdown of the game. Who the fuck is Garrett Griffin? The touchdown wasn't nearly as impressive, though, as Mark Ingram blowing up the blitz with this upending hit on Dante Fowler Jr., who was lucky he actually buckled his chin strap right before the snap. And just like the Saints needed a momentum change last week after starting 14 points in the hole, so did the Rams, trailing 13-0. Punter Johnny Hekker, the most decorated punter slash QB, sparked the Rams on this first down pass. That was actually Hecker's 12th first down pass of his career on just 20 attempts. He makes more money than wide receiver Michael Thomas right now. And it's hard to argue against that considering quarterback Nathan Peterman had just 14 first down passes on 88 attempts this season. Hekker should be demanding some QB money this offseason. CJ Bash Mandersonic carried the Rams down the field because Jared Goff couldn't hear any of the play calls Sean McVay was giving him in his helmet. Or he was just pretending he couldn't hear Sean McVay because he gets like super annoying during important games. Todd Gurley went on to drop his second pass, this one costing the team 4 points. So a total of 7 points in the wrong way because of Todd Gurley. Luckily for Gurley, the Rams' defensive line took over the game, collapsing the Saints' pocket like Broncos fans collapsing in upon each other, fighting about who would suck to see in the Super Bowl more, the Patriots or the Chiefs. Brandon Cooks took a deep ball down within the 10-yard line, giving Gurley a chance to redeem himself with the inside touchdown run to cut the Saints' lead down to 3, right before halftime. Honestly though, Drew Brees should have realized he wasn't going to get any favorable calls from the referees in this game the moment this happened. He gets pushed right in front of the refs, clearly after the ball has been thrown, and he flies through the air like Kevin Costner in The Bodyguard. Yet, no penalty. And I agree, I don't think it should be called there, but based on everything we've seen throughout the season, that would have been called a penalty. Based on Tom Brady's shoulder being touched, that should have been a penalty. Now, after halftime, Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas tried to rip off Nickell Robey-Coleman's head. That is the real reason Coleman knew he wouldn't get flagged at the end of the game. The refs were letting these men be men and try to kill each other. It's what fans have been screaming for all year long, but then when we get it, we complain. The Rams were like the state of Utah, allowing Mormons to do whatever they wanted. This time, they were nearly sunk by the Mormon missile himself, Taysom Hill, a guy I would have loved to see beat Bill Belichick in the Super Bowl. Bill can't game plan for a Mormon. It's the one thing Satan forgot to put in their contract. Now, the Rams responded with their best drive of the game, ending in a Tyler Higbee touchdown. Typical touchdown show between Tyler Higbee and Garrett Griffin again. It was almost like the other faceless tight end, Gerald Everett, was getting jealous. And with the Rams backed up in their own territory on third down, Everett came to save the day. Gerald Everett with the biggest offensive play of the game for the Rams on this 39-yard catch and run. Rams continued to push with Josh Reynolds and CJ Anderson, but had to settle for a field goal to tie the game at 20. Now, this is going to be unpopular with Rams fans because many believe that Jared Goff should have been the beneficiary of a face mask penalty on this drive. That would have given the Rams a fresh set of downs. They would have probably scored a touchdown and won the game in regulation. I disagree. I think this is the correct call. He does not pull the face mask. It touches the face mask. And if that's a face mask, then you have to say this should be roughing the passer on Drew Brees, and I don't think any of us fucking want that shit. And this, of course, would set up the controversial finish to the game. This is the part of the game Saints fans will never want to see again, but the part of the game that Rams fans will watch once a week until LA actually becomes a football city. Drew Brees took about as long as it takes me to actually beat Goff, to decide to dump it off to Alvin Kamara on third down. It may sound efficient, but I do not recommend trying to beat Goff while taking dumps. That was followed by Ted Ginn Jr. Esquire making the biggest catch of the game, reeling in this jump ball. I have no idea how Ginn made that catch, no idea how that ball wasn't picked. I really just don't know how football works. So here we are, the infamous play. Nickell Robey-Coleman gets away with one of the most egregious pass interference plays I've probably ever seen in the postseason. Had that been called, this game would have been over. The Saints would have been able to run the clock down to about 4 seconds, kick a chip shot field goal with Will Lutz, and get ready to go to the Super Bowl. Instead, Bill Vinovich took his life into his own hands by no-calling the most obvious penalty anyone has ever seen, and it's a wonder New Orleans isn't in flames today. You know, I haven't seen a Saint treated this unfairly since Saint Stephen was stoned to death, or since Saint Sebastian was clubbed to death, or since Saint Lawrence was grilled alive. Jesus. Maybe New Orleans should change their name. It seems like things almost always end horribly for Saints. Now, the Rams tied the game with the 48-yard Greg Zuerlein field goal, sending the game into overtime. Basically, this is how NFL officiating works now. Call the preseason in a way that everyone hates. Call the regular season different from the preseason, but still bad enough where we complain every week. Then call the postseason in a way every NFL game should be officiated with fewer flags, but due to the confusion of not calling games consistently starting in the preseason, fuck up obvious calls late in the game. Then everyone will be upset for 2 days, remember the Super Bowl is coming up, and completely forget about it. And that's why the refs can do whatever the fuck they want. The news cycle now lasts about 30 minutes. It also appeared the football gods stand by their vow of celibacy, doing everything in their power to make sure nobody ruins their minds with sexually deviant thoughts and submits to beating Goff. That is the only way to explain this Drew Brees interception in overtime. Hit as he throws the ball only so it can fall into John Johnson's hands as he lies on the ground, willing to never let anyone beat Goff, even though he's in missionary lying there with his legs in the air. John Johnson caught the ball with his Johnson, making him really Johnny on the spot. The Rams, they are lucky to have a kicker named Greg the Leg on their team. If they didn't, they definitely would have seen someone beat Goff in the postseason. Instead, Greg the Leg shafts this 58-yard gooch splitter to send the Rams to the Super Bowl. I have no idea if LA or even if New Orleans would have been able to beat the Patriots in 2 weeks. What I do know right now is nobody, including Giselle, wants to watch Tom Brady beat Goff. And any Saints fans waiting for this Rule 17, Section 2, Article 3 that Michael Thomas tweeted out, where it says Roger Goodell can reverse a game's result or reschedule a game either from the beginning or from the point at which the extraordinary act occurred. Do not hold your breath for this. Trust me, I held my breath, thinking he might do this for Deflategate. The dumbest scandal of all, but at the time, it looked like he could do this, and he did not. You would need a miracle, Louisiana, and Roger Goodell is never, ever part of any miracle. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. This is YouTube. You have to subscribe. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, @BrandonPerna. And if you haven't watched it already, the Chiefs-Patriots review is up on my channel right now. It's on the screen. You can click it to watch that. If you just want to waste more time by watching football videos, this is a very good place to do it.